This is my podcast team, and they don't know anything about this.
We didn't agree for this.
This is a podcast, guys, for the podcast.
This is meta podcast.
This is gonna be weird watching myself. I'm preparing this.
They have no idea. Anyways, so we're going to talk everything about the podcasting that we do, how we do it, and all these things. And also, it's been 12 days that I didn't eat food. So if I die in the middle of the podcast, it's okay.
I hope you don't, but
That's good for retention. Let's keep watching.
We'll have only one microphone for them, so we're going to one will give it to the other. And yeah, tell us first of all, how did you join the team, guys? How did you decide that you want to be part of this podcast team?
you wanna go first? Oh,
Take it.
okay, so basically I was.
And then we're going to tell you what each one is doing, how we're doing it, and everything that you need to know. That is actually very interesting. There is a lot of work that is going behind that you guys don't understand. And you're going to find out.
Yeah, because
now.
when you, I don't know which camera to look at, but when you look at the video, it looks just turn on, camera turn off. But there are a lot of things that it's like 80% of the things you don't see in the behind the scenes. So what you were saying about how we applied, right? So basically I think I was scrolling around YouTube, and one day I saw your video that you uploaded to the podcast channel or the clips. I don't remember exactly where. And it says, we are hiring. I was like, okay, this is interesting. I look at it and I was like, okay, this is a great opportunity for me to learn and work with a YouTuber. So I did some research, saw what kind of people were applying, how they were doing, the comments. I was looking at what they were doing, and I came up with a plan. Okay, I need to do everything and make a great application to grab their attention and get the job. And it will be really interesting to work with a YouTuber instead of just at my home doing things by myself without any feedback. So I thought it would be an interesting thing to try, and that's why I applied. How about you?
And out of 500 applications, you got the job. So they are very legit, guys. They are the best out of a lot of people. So, okay, Jesus, your turn now. Let's open this light for vibe as well. Now we have a vibe.
Very romantic. So very similar to Shengran. I was scrolling down. I was not even subscribed to the Fidias clips thing, but because I was subscribed to you and the podcast, it popped up.
You were subscribing my podcast, John?
Yeah, I was. Yeah. And I just saw it and I thought it was interesting because I come from like a more filmmaking traditional background that it doesn't really have much repercussion. When you make a video, you make it for a business, or you make a documentary, maybe it goes to a festival, but maybe 100 people watch it.
And he made a film and went to the festival. It went to the festival as well.
Yeah,
so
and no one went to the cinema. It was very beautiful. It was.
So you feel good, actually, the stuff that you make, actual people seeing it.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like I'm not used to working in YouTube, even though I was YouTuber when I was 14-year-old.
Minecraft gameplays in 2014.
But Shengran, you forgot that you don't have a microphone next to you.
Yeah, I have seen some of his videos. He made Minecraft gameplays. I also did. They are very cringe, so we are not going to show them, but we made them. So if you are doing them, it's fine. Maybe in the future you can improve and
I'm not sure if anybody understood what you're saying because I didn't. But maybe people are clearer than me.
Yeah, so the point. I wanted to work somewhere where the thing that I edited really made a difference. And that's what I talked with Fidias the first time that we talked on the phone. And I guess I was lucky. You told me I was not the best editor.
Yeah, let me tell the story for both of you why I chose you. First of all, out of all these people, Shengran was actually the best in YouTube understanding, because like people think that there is so much science, there is so much studying, knowing what grabs attention, what keeps people watching. And when I was talking with Shengran, I felt like I was talking to other YouTuber friends that I have. So I was like, it was an immediate like, oh yeah, Shengran is good. He seems like excited for this as well. So I was like, no, I want Shengran immediately. I fucked all the people that I was talking and interviewing. And for Jesus, it was 3 people that was for the position. And Jesus was not the best out of the 3. He was the 3rd. But I talked with them and I saw a lot of passion for life and a lot of passion for generally this. Like I saw some spark in his eyes. So I was like, this is more important for me than the editing skills, because editing skills can get better, but the passion, you cannot fake it or like develop it. So that's why you are here. But tell me, how was the transitions and how, because definitely is not the typical workspace that you have in this channel. So talk about how was the transition through the whole thing.
Yeah, so I work in another teams in the past, but all of them were always like in person, in an office or spending a lot of time.
Oh, by the way, that's important. This is the first time that we meet in real life. Yes. We were working online for like more than 6 months now. Yeah. And now is the first time that we're meeting in person. So that's why we're doing that as well. So continue.
Yes, so really that's the
people
main thing.
People are getting mad at me in the podcast that I'm interrupting too much. So I will try
I read the comments. I see what you comment.
But Shengran, you forget that you don't have a microphone in front of you.
Okay, I forget that I have a microphone and I'm the one in charge of this. I read all of the comments. There are not that many, but I try to read them all. So whatever feedback you have, make sure to comment.
Yeah.
Yes.
So tell us, how was the transition here?
Yeah, really, it was not much a transition rather than being used to working online, and also that how we worked as a team, because you're not a normal boss. Like, you are very raw saying what you think, and normally people are like sugarcoating. This is a term that Shengran told me. And also working with Shengran, like at first we didn't know each other, but little by little I think we became best friends. Maybe not best friends, but but yeah, I think the main thing was the online thing. And now that we are meeting each other together, we are talking about other stuff, maybe we'll make something out of this trip. But you need to say some of the
bad things as well. It's not only great things.
The bad things.
Yeah, bad things. People need to say bad things.
My main transition was to come from the film language to the YouTube language. For example, the big problem that we had, Fidias and I, was the use of music. He has a very specific use of music that it's pretty similar to the Mr. Beast like formula of doing it, like changing the music every 5 seconds. And for me, that was terrible. What the fuck? For a 15-second video, you have to use 3 songs. And once I made a TikTok about his ex-girlfriend, and he called me like, "What the fuck have you done?" And I was like, "Oh my god, what's happening?" I sent the voice message to Julio, the editor in the main channel, and I was like, "Man, what's happening? I don't understand why he's so mad about the music." And then I started to understand that, maybe to make it entertaining and more watchable, you have to change the music. But I'm still not so sure if it works for the podcast TikToks. I think they might work for entertainment in general. But when we are doing podcasts, I think the main thing that has to be the focus is the content. So yeah,
we're still figuring things out. We're very new in this podcast thing as well. Shengran, how was your
about
transition?
me, this is actually the first real job I have, because
we took your virginity.
Because I, like a couple of years back, I started my own YouTube channel, and it's relatively successful. Well, it's way above average.
In his own terms.
Well, I mean, if you compare to the average, to the data,
We're going to put it here for you guys to decide if it's relatively successful.
well, you can have a look if you want to my channel. I don't know where the screen. And yeah, I was already used to working on YouTube stuff because that's the only thing I did. And I was always at home doing YouTube stuff by myself. So one of the things I noticed after 1 year or two is that working on YouTube by yourself is kind of stupid. I thought I was like, okay, I'm going to do it myself. I can do it. Like, fine, I'll do it myself. Because I realized that, I don't know, it's hard to get people knowledgeable. Like, for example, at the beginning, I thought maybe I could get Mr. Beast's attention and get him to help me. That was obviously impossible. Very hard. So I was like, okay, I'm going to do it myself. But that led me to fall into a trap of me trying to thinking everything by myself without any feedback. So I ended up overthinking everything. And one of the reasons why I wanted to work with Fidias is that way I can learn much faster and have feedback and know what's good or what's bad and have someone to talk about. Because I don't know if anyone watching wants to become a YouTuber, but it's definitely one of the most important things to have people you can talk about with and people that are open to feedback and don't sugarcoat things. Because I've spoken to a lot of people. I try to reach out to a lot of people, and some people, they don't like you giving them feedback because they feel like their content is their pride and they get attacked. And that type of people, I stop talking to them. And you want to look for people that are open to feedback and just want to learn and improve. Don't just blame the algorithm because that's not the problem.
So recently it's been kind of a different kind of journey. I think that you expected, like where we put you in an intellectual hardcore Navy SEAL course. So with all these people that we are interviewing, because how is this? Did you expected this? Did you thought that it would be only YouTubers? Did you expected to learn all these things from how do you find all this stuff?
Well, when we started talking at the very beginning, you mentioned that we were gonna interview intellectuals and have something similar to Lex Fridman or Joe Rogan. So it was not unexpected, but I thought there would be like more YouTubers involved. So I don't know, it's something that we already talked about, so it's kind of what I expected.
Yeah, knowing you a little bit, we saw that you were interested in intellectual stuff, and it was like a great surprise for me because I'm not that of a YouTube nerd like you and Shengran, and maybe I'm not that much interested on how YouTube works and everything, but I'm really curious and having a variety of topics in the podcast. I think it's going to do good, and maybe the ones that we have done with the intellectuals, they are not getting that much attention, but I think in the future when people watch it, it's going to be valuable. Like I think we are making valuable content with the intellectuals, and that's why I wanted to work here. So
what is some things that you didn't you are learning from all these takeaways that you from all this stuff that you are watching? Because I can go on and on for days to tell you what I learned from those people. So, and probably if there is a person here that watch all the podcasts, the recent podcasts, they probably learn so many small details and stuff about life, about everything. But what is some core things that you learn, like intellectually or like for life, or applicable, not applicable, or philosophy stuff?
I think the main thing is that like I also come from I did high school, then university, and I'm doing my master's. So from the very beginning in my life, I had to choose one path, and it was humanities. I chose humanities, and I said, okay, if I'm going to learn about this, I don't have the option to know about science, about the space, about how physics work. And for example, my brother, he's an engineer, so he knows about science, but he doesn't know about humanities. But here in the podcast, I realized that I really enjoy knowing about scientific stuff, and it has given me the lesson that maybe I don't have to take the path, the one path that it's given to me, but to be curious and to be open to the other side, to the scientific stuff that no one has talked me about.
Shengran,
What was the question? I forgot.
what stuff you learned that you didn't expect with all this recent podcast? And don't play with that because
Oh,
people are
sorry.
hearing it in the
Sorry.
sound. Motherfucker.
Let's see. Well, the main thing is that.
And put the mic closer, bitch.
Okay. Let's see. Okay. I don't really know what to say. It's the main thing that I noticed that I like the fact that some topics that we are covering now, I personally maybe not find it interesting and I wouldn't click it. But when I watch it, because it's my job, I have to watch it, I find the conversation very, very interesting. And there are very valuable things that I might not be exposed to if I was just browsing YouTube by myself. So I find it very interesting to see all the perspectives from the intellectuals inside a podcast, because you don't get those things from, I don't know, browsing YouTube normally. For example, whatever your hobbies are, it's good to be exposed to different kinds of opinions and new information. So it helps you get a better perspective about life and different things. And I really appreciate that. It's like I'm being forced to learn, and it's good. I like it.
So you learn being more open to...
Yeah, well, I was always open to it, but sometimes it's like I don't feel like watching a ton of podcasts. But because usually when I open YouTube, or when you open YouTube, it's very easy to see a shorter video that's more engaging, more entertaining. So it's the easier choice, and it's a bit harder to just sit down and listen to a podcast. But once you do it, you realize how much value there is, because a lot of videos on YouTube, you watch them, you learn nothing. It's kind of a waste of time. And for example, TikTok, the entire thing, I feel like it's a waste of time. And you can watch a 2-hour podcast and learn something important and have a good takeaway, or waste and spend time watching a ton of useless shorts or something.
Not all the shorts are useless, or we have an account that it's very useful.
Yeah, we have our own, which we make sure to give value. Otherwise, we don't upload it.
Yeah, well. Also, guys, now that we are here talking about the podcast, we have one podcast clips channel that it's we are uploading clips there, so you can go and watch some clips of the intellectual, and if you like what he's saying, go and watch the full podcast. So it's kind of a low-hanging fruit for you to watch like 4 or 5 minutes to get a sense of what you're like, because sometimes we might make a mistake on the guest, but I'm very happy on average that 1 every 5 probably might be less, but 4 out of 5 they are great value. So you can go and see on the clips and see yourself which you are. So definitely go and subscribe and watch some stuff from there, because we don't have enough views.
Yeah, like maybe the entire thing, podcast 2 hours, may sound a bit like too much, but if you look at the clips, there might be some topics that you are interested in. So watch a couple of those, and if you like the thing, you can watch the entire thing. So that's a good introduction to the podcast or the topic. So yeah.
How is it working online, boys? Is it like, because it's at your own time, it's like there's no one in office? Is it optimal? Is it negative?
In the beginning, it was hard. Like not the thing of working online, but working on your own, and basically choosing the hours that you are working. So, for example, in the beginning, we didn't have like an optimization that like we have now, that it's like I edit, I give you the raw, you say whatever, and it's more fast. Now we are doing 2 per week, but in the beginning it took us to put a podcast out like maybe half a month, like 2 weeks. And we were working so hard, and I have slept many few hours in the beginning, and Shengran too, I know. But little by little, like
we refined the process. Like I didn't know anything. Nobody knew anything what we're doing. So
That's
we
it.
definitely refine the process in the beginning. But yeah, continue saying what.
Yeah, so the thing is, now I know how to like break down my day. I know how much time it takes me to edit a short. I know how much time it's going to take me edit a whole podcast, and now I'm enjoying working. In the beginning it was quite hard and like to do everything together.
And for people to, I think it's important for people to know, have some context. We treat like this as a team. There is no hierarchy. There is not a person that is telling other people what to do or whatever. Like sometimes, but we are outcome based. So, Shengran, we need to upload 2 podcasts a week. Find a way to make that happen. Nobody is like on his ass or whatever. It's like they have to be responsible. Whatever time they want, whatever time they want to work. There's no schedule, no in time, no out time. And this is actually like being your own boss, the definition of being your own boss. So yeah. Do you think this is true, or is that my perception of
I like being able to select when I work, but I realized that I might not be the best at organizing, because, for example, when we started working, and we were in different time zones, and most of the time you will message me or call me at 3, 4, 5 a.m. And sometimes at the beginning I had the pressure of like, he told me to do something and I wanted to get it immediately done. So he will tell me at 3 a.m. and I will just do it until 6 a.m. So my sleep schedule was completely fucked. But I slowly realized, okay, it's okay to tell Fidias to wait, and I can do it once I wake up instead of just not sleeping. That was a stupid idea. I don't know why I always wanted to get everything done as fast as possible. I mean, it made sense, but it also makes sense to sleep and be able to work properly, because if I'm half asleep, my quality of work is not as good. And yeah, I think by now I can manage the time much better, although I still sometimes fail, but yeah, we're working on that. It's fun to work here.
What do you think is the future of podcast in general, the industry? Do you think this will be a huge thing in the future? Do you think like how are things moving, like your estimation about things?
Well, we have just seen, like, at the time of recording.
Oh, by the way, very important, very important. We are not the only 3 person working on the podcast. We have Justin. Shout out to Justin. We love you. Nothing was going to be possible without you, because he is sending. This is what we're going to get into as well now. How we do the process. First of all, Justin is from South Africa and he's sending emails to the intellectuals. First of all, my high school teacher, which is the cleverest person I personally know, he selects the people that we're going to interview, and he sent a list to Justin, and Justin sent like to 500 people emails. Whatever, I'm Fidias, I want to interview you, we're going to travel to you to make this happen, blah 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 blah. And Justin goes back and forth with all these people, and some people, like 80% of them say no, 20% say yes, but that 20% is 100 people. So and because this is I run the YouTube channel that we have with the main channel here, and it's like I can't focus all my time on this. So we need to do it a period of the month. So we need to do it like at least I can focus 1 week per month, the whole week. So we put back to back podcasts for 7 days. And then I do the podcast, I go travel. It usually costs a lot of money. For example, when I went to the trip with the intellectual, it costed like probably $6,000 to just the flights, travel here, travel there, hotel sometimes.
Do you know how to travel for free across the United States?
Well, it's not optimal. You are going to miss the appointments.
Yeah, okay.
If you travel for free, so it's not optimal. And also, I'm getting some work done for the main channel in the meantime in those 7 days. So if I'm traveling for free, it takes full time. So it's not optimal. So, but that's a good question. But Yes. So I do back to back interviews, and then I send all the footage to these guys, and it's good for each one to explain his job now, what they are doing exactly in the channel, and then we get into the future of podcasting.
Okay, so what do I do? What do I do? What do I do? Let's go through the process. Fidias finished filming. He uploads. Jesús. Right now, well, we change this once we figure something, so we change and adapt our process. But right now, once you get something, Jesús download this, changes the camera. Like we have 3 cameras here. We sync the audio, make the first draft. And once that's done, I watch the entire thing. I write down different clips for the clips channel here. I run down some timestamps and the intro, the hooks for the shorts. Once I get all that, I also add some instructions for Jesus to understand.
This is too deep.
Okay, too boring. We need to move on.
Optimize it.
You need to optimize, summarize, and explain more simple what you're doing, like kind of the idea overall of what you're doing is.
Basically, I select the clips, I write the titles, I make the thumbnail. I know that somebody says that my thumbnails suck. I know, I don't read the comments, but we're working on that. We're improving. And let's see, clips, titles, shorts. I give Jesus revisions when we are editing, because sometimes some things could flow better. We could cut this, cut that. And
let me give a bit more overview why this is. So I think I know as well what Shengran knows about the YouTube stuff, but for me, I cannot focus my focus on the podcast to do all this stuff. I need to have another me working on the podcast. To title something is not that easy. To thumbnail, to do the intro, which part we're going to select to put in the intro, and also for the clips channel that we said, is like every podcast we cut like 7-8 clips and we put them on that channel, and it's like not that easy. So for me, I can't do it now. I need to focus to grow the other channel, and so I need it. That's why we brought Shengran in the team to find another person as good as me to do that thing. And now over time, I'm sure Shengran will become a lot better than me, because he's specializing on the podcast form. So that's why Shengran is here, and this is kind of what his job is, to do the YouTube higher level decision making. This will hold people watching more time. This is a better hook. This is a thumbnail. This is a title that people will click, and all this higher level stuff. So this is Shengran work in a nutshell. So kind of Shengran manages the projects. He's managing Jesus, and I don't really talk with them that much now. I was talking with you a lot more in the beginning, but now it's like free flow. Like, you got it, Jesus got it, and we're like, I'm just like sending you. That was that's another important thing that you have. Like, I let them. I was explaining that, maybe Jesus can explain that as well. But like, explain the thing that we were talking before when we went to food, that it's important for people for you to make your mistakes, and how we let you make your mistakes to learn.
Yeah, we already said, like, I make things and then you say that's stupid.
Yeah, but after we upload, we say feedback. So we put the videos that they make, and like after the upload, for when I have time, like after 2-3 weeks or a month or something, I say that's wrong because of this and this and this. And I say always, maybe I'm wrong that I'm saying this. But this is how I learn how to make videos, by making mistakes.
Yeah, so, and it's also interesting because you might think that that's wrong, but then we upload it and it does good, and we are like, oh, so we did something that we thought it was not, you know.
Definitely, and like it hurts my ego, but like that when something does well, it's a better indication than my opinion.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's very interesting. And let's go back to what we were saying with Shengran about Jesus. So Shengran is managing kind of the process of Jesus, but now Jesus talk a bit more detail about what's your actual job.
My role is to be the editor. I started as long form editor, so making this full podcast. But then I got interested in also short form. They were going to hire someone to do the shorts, but I don't know. I tried. I made some shorts, and since then I've been also doing the TikToks. It's actually been
it's
an
not
editor.
He cuts every 4 or 5 seconds the angle in the main podcast.
Yes.
Like explain a bit more detail because I'm just editor podcast.
Yeah,
It's
so we
it
have
doesn't take any time.
No, it takes a lot of time actually. It's 3 cameras. We have to put them together, and every 5 seconds we try to cut so it's like more watchable. And from now what we are doing is like every time that one of the guests or Fidias says something interesting or a person, I try to put a photo of it so it's more easy to understand. That's it. And then the short part that it takes more editing skill because we try to make them
and the short part, just to rephrase, is like we take out of the 2-hour conversation something interesting that we said in the middle, and he cuts it to 30 seconds, and he puts some music. It's a good, interesting intro in the beginning of the video, and like this is, and he's doing one daily.
That's it.
On that. So they are in direct communication because Shengran knows a bit more the YouTube. He's kind of revising sometimes. But that was kind of my idea, and like we achieved my dream for me to not need to do stuff on the podcast.
Yeah, so basically you communicate with me some of the main things, and I transfer that message to Jesus, and we work together to make sure everything works fine. And it's kind of like a teamwork. What I do is like quality control, make sure that everything is as good as possible for you to watch it and enjoy it. So make sure to subscribe.
Yes, hit that bell as well.
When I'm live, for example, I'm not used to improvise. When I'm really good at thinking behind the camera and taking my time to make sure everything works well. But right now I'm just improvising. So maybe I'm not doing as great of a job with the engagement.
I'm curious to hear, like, I'm sure you didn't expect this to come in the house and find this, but like, how are you shocked, or like, are you comfortable?
We talked about it. We were talking in the plane because I said like, oh, we should make a podcast with Ellen, that is right here, also the editor in the main channel. And I say, or maybe we can do a podcast with Shengran and you talk about YouTube because you know a lot about YouTube. And he goes, oh, okay, well, I don't know. But then I'm here. I shouldn't be here. I don't know shit.
By the way, I don't know if you know, but Jesus, he told me like he prefers to be like behind the scenes working on that. I don't really care. I like it because I want to improve my communication. I think it's really cool. I once gave a speech and
we're going to put Blair on Jesus' face all the time.
Yeah, I find it fun. I'm not good at it yet and I'm not satisfied, but it's cool for me to watch videos of myself and see, okay, I'm improving. And that's really fun for me to see. Because for example, if I watch something I filmed last year, I really die of cringe. It's really bad. And still now I feel like there's so much I could improve, but yeah, it's fun.
Why do you feel that you want to be out of the camera?
I don't know, because I don't want to be public figure. I think like this doesn't matter. Like I'm okay because I'm going to edit. So if I don't like something, I will edit it out. No, I don't know. Like I prefer to be anonymous, I think. Overall, but this is fine.
This is fine because this is you spend a lot of time doing this, so it feels like home as well.
Yes. But yesterday in the night, like we did a part for one of the videos in the main in the main channel. I didn't know what the fuck to say. Like I don't know. I said hola or something like that.
Yeah,
it was very bad.
Yeah, but when you appear like in one video, or let's say any of these gets even 100,000 views, it doesn't really matter in the long run. It's like more. Maybe some people will see it and like, but also it depends also how. I was talking with Shengran about how you become famous or whatever. It's like if you become famous like from a prank that is, you don't want that. If you become famous because you went to Burundi and you made a mistake, who does that? It's yeah. So it depends a lot, like way that you. But if you become famous, but we're not talking about famous. But if you become famous by talking about your experience with your work and what you learn and all this stuff, that's a whole different thing, because people are learning, people are enjoying the conversation. So I think there's a different way.
There's some music in the background. It's a bit weird, but
within the Turkish Cyprus, we came here to a trip yesterday to visit a casino and enjoy, kind of have some bonding time all together. I played poker, and they got kicked off the casino because they are not 25. I'm not either, but
the master of sneaking in.
Yes. But yeah, so that we have a mask. This is the time that they do. I don't know. They do a lot of times.
5 times a day.
5 times a day. Yeah. Are you?
And now it's Ramadan, I think. So maybe they do it more. I don't know.
So tell us about humanities. Like what you said. You said about
humanities.
The first question Fidias asked us when we were here. What is philosophy? What's the meaning of life? The first thing, like when you meet somebody, it's very weird. Like you don't go meet somebody and go like, what is the meaning of life?
Bro,
what do you think about love? I don't know.
We spend so many hours online.
Yeah, I expected that from him, but like for anybody else, it's like a bit weird. But yeah, it was interesting to get that question.
What's humanities?
Yeah, because you said that you know about humanities, but you don't know about you didn't know about science.
It's not that I know about humanities. Like I studied social sciences, so that's like history of art and geography even, but I don't know about geography. Like that's the focus that I put in my academic career, because I wanted to study communication, audiovisual communication. And that's what they said. If you want to study audiovisual communication, you have to go through the social science path. And that's what I learned. I learned a lot of things about philosophy, Descartes, Platon, whatever. But it was 4 years ago. So right now I'm a little bit dumber than when I was 18.
Or maybe you didn't learn anything in the university.
No, in university I feel I learn in some universities. In the university that I am right now in Barcelona, I'm learning a lot. And when I was in London, I learned a lot. When I was in Seville, it's quite shit.
Okay. And what is the difference, you think? It's just the lack of the university, if it's good or not?
I think it's not a problem of money in the university. It's the way you are teaching. In Seville, what they do is you go to a class, a guy is speaking, and you have to take all the information in. In London, they do it differently. In London, before you go into class, they send you a PDF or they send you a video. Do you know a little bit of knowledge of the thing that the guy is going to speak in the class? So when you are in the class, it's not just one way, the information, but it's the two ways. So the professor is talking, but then you can also say, oh, I read this in the PDF that you sent, and I think whatever. So it's like more of a seminar. And the two of you are learning. And it's more like
How did the
participation.
universities help you to be better at your job now?
Maybe not at my job, because actually I didn't learn to edit in university. I learned it through YouTube. But I think they made me see the world in a different way. Like when you are alone by yourself, you can watch in the internet, you have everything, but it's not popping up like, oh, you can learn about this, or you can learn about Marcel Duchamp, or you can learn about, but you have to search for it. The university, what it gives you is, okay, you have this, you can learn about this. This is important, or this is entertaining, or this is whatever. And then you choose if you want to take it in or not. But they like make a selection of the knowledge.
What about the format of the university? Like students, the friends that you make, the experience that you make?
Yeah, I think that's also one of the most important things, that when you go to university, you make
You are teaching us, by the way, both of us, because none of me and Shengran went to university.
I went, but I dropped out, and I will let him finish, and then if I are interested, I will.
Oh, retention guy. He knows that.
I will tell you why I dropped out and something that made me really mad about it.
Yeah, I mean, thanks that I went to university, I met people that I really love, and they are my friends now, and I've been working with them. Like we made like a production company in Seville, and we made short films, and we are like brothers now. And it all started because we were together in a room in a university, and then you go to party, but that's like more banal stuff. Like you are having fun that day, and that's it. But I think the relationship that you are making, it's important in the process. That's why I went to university also online, and it was very different. Because you like online university. Do you think that's going to be the future, right? Or not?
I don't know if online university will be the future.
The audio is.
Oh.
He knows.
Ooh.
I'm doing my job.
So I don't know if online university will be the future, but I think YouTube is an online university. So I think it is already showing that it's taking over the educational way. Or maybe also masterclass is kind of a cool way that they learn a lot of things. So it's online stuff is interesting, but also real life things. I invest so much in real life seminars, but it's for 2-3 days or something like that. So I think there is value to real life stuff as well. So if you can mix this both things, or these are different things, but yeah, I definitely think there is.
Yeah, well, the main problem I see with universities is that most of them, they are too traditional or antiquated. They are not using like new information. Some of the books have information from 20 years ago that in some cases, like in some careers, it works because it's the same thing, but in others, it's very antiquated, and I feel like they don't update the information they teach you enough. And it also depends, like your experience at college or university depends a bit also on luck, because for example, Jesus, he's saying that he had many great friends, but when I got to college, I had the opposite experience. When I was in high school, if any of my high school friends are watching, my class was awesome. I loved them. But in university, I noticed that it was very hard for me to connect with anybody because
You are Chinese.
Yeah, all that I have struggled a little bit. Now it's better because like 10 years back, I would get bullied quite a bit, but I got used to it.
What do you mean bullied, and why?
Because I was the Chinese kid, the different kid, the nerdy, I guess, and it was, I guess, easy.
In what way they bullied you?
I don't know. They just made fun of me. It's not that bad. Well, at least I never took it that bad, because when someone tried to do something to me, I just punched them back. So I was not like just letting them do whatever. I got kicked out of school once because some stupid kid was trying to do something to me, I got really mad and I tried to punch him back, and he went crying to the principal, and they kicked me
So
out.
that's why you were saying to me that you built a thick skin over the years.
Well, that's part of it. Like, I learned that it's the
When I
best.
said to Shengran, you're stupid, like this is what the fucking mistake you made here. He's like, I'm saying, oh, good morning.
Yeah, I'm gonna explain why. Yeah, like I learned that ignoring hate comments and bad comments, if they are not constructive, or if it's not constructive criticism, it makes no sense to listen to them, even though it's a bit hard because it's very easy to remember bad stuff, like the last podcast, one of the few last podcast we made. It's very easy to fall into the trap of the negativity, but if it's not constructive, just ignore it. And the reason why I love when Fidias says, you're stupid, this is wrong, is because it's the first time that somebody actually cares about what I'm doing on YouTube. Like, a lot of times, let's say you want to become a YouTuber and you ask your friend or I don't know, your dad, your sister, your brother, hey, what do you think about this video? Everyone always almost says, it looks fine, it's good. I hate that thing because I know it's not good. It's not getting views. No, nobody's watching it for a reason. It's bad. And it's like, when I started, it was like my first couple of tries. And when you first try to make a video, it always sucks. So it was really good. And it actually felt good when Fidias was like, this is shit. This is how you improve it. I was like, oh my God, finally someone that can teach me
Definitely
something.
Jesus is not the same.
No. Yes, I was telling you yesterday, I think, because like the first time that with the music stuff, like I've always been a very good employee. Also, I was very good in school with good grades. So really, no one have never said to me like, "Oh, this is fucking shit." So the first time I was like, "Oh my God, I did something wrong." What? Because I thought it was good or whatever. and this job is really helping me with that. Like now I'm making a documentary. I'm having a lot of revisions. I'm working also with a team. And sometimes they have to tell us, this doesn't work.
We're
This
going
is
to
stupid."
get back to the story of Shengran, but tell us a bit about your documentary journey. And like, you published the abstract documentary recently.
Abstract. Yeah.
That's I think a right word to describe it.
No, it's I'm studying now creative documentary filmmaking. So it's different from documentaries that are like talking heads with an interview or whatever. So it tries to be experimental on the form of how you use it, like how you are filming, how you are editing. And I did a documentary. It's called The Photos on My Wall, and it's about.
You're going to put the link in the description.
It's not public yet.
Ah.
I missed it. I could be famous now and I won't do it. Well, when it's published, I will put it.
Okay.
And yeah, it's like 3 different stories about love, about friendship, and about family through the photos on my wall.
Yes. And just, for example, it's a very attractive, that the documentary and the short film in the film industry, but very few people make successful film in the theater and all this stuff. So what do you, in the contrast of YouTube, like you spoke a bit about it before, like I feel good that people are watching and giving feedback. Is this a more sense of purpose when you're doing the one and the other, or like, does it play a role?
Yeah, that's a good question, because I think like the film industry, at least in Spain, is like slowly dying. Like the government, well, actually not only in Spain, but everywhere in the world, in most of the countries, there is like a funding system for the films. So most of the films don't make money when they go out in the theater, but they make money because there are public funds that fund the movie, and people can get paid because of that. Because if the film industry worked like YouTube, it would be dead, because there is not enough people going to the cinema to pay the cost of the movie.
Yeah, but there is different ways, like with Netflix now and Hulu and all these streaming platforms to make some money with these things. But yeah, I in the theater, it's slowly dying, but I still see an audience. Definitely a lot less than what it was.
Yes,
So,
but also
so
the
does it
platforms,
have a difference for you when you do both
YouTube
of
and film. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's super different.
No, I mean the sense of purpose.
Oh, I don't know. Very few.
Because you made a film and nobody watched it. It was a whole
they
theater.
they selected it in a festival, but when we went to present it, only one person from Wuhan was there.
Okay. One person is
And-
something.
One person and the other people that were also showing their film. But I mean, that's why I think like I'm not going to work economically. That I don't want to receive money from film, but I have so much joy when I'm making films and when I don't have like to tell anyone why I'm doing this. Like I'm just experimenting, trying to evoke feeling, and I enjoy that. I don't need public funding to tell me, if I give you this public funding, then you need to have this certain type, and you have to do it in 2 years. So what I'm trying to do is like work on YouTube. That it's something that I really enjoy, that maybe can give me more money than film, and then fund myself the films that give me joy.
So both give you sense of purpose.
Yeah, both of them in a different way, I think.
Interesting. Now, Shengran, are you ready to tell the story? That the people, they are biting their nails.
Yeah,
They're
I'm
like,
sure
oh my God,
they care about
I
this
need
person
to
they never
know
met.
about.
I'm sure they care a lot about someone they never met, but I don't know. It's an interesting perspective, so you might wanna listen. So basically, why I hate I hate the university, normal universities, the one I went, and more specifically because I had a bad experience and
Can we shout out it?
I don't know. I prefer not just whatever.
I said it.
Well, basically, I had a bad experience. Other people probably had a good one, but I was a bit different. So
I'm sorry, guys, because I'm almost dead.
12 days without eating in the middle of a challenge.
Yeah, so I'm going to lay a bit. Yeah, continue.
Yeah. So I was gonna say about the tough skin part. Like I come from a Asian family, as you can obviously see here, and like my parents, they almost never gave compliments. It's always this is shit. So when Fidias did it, was natural for me. Like, and you just learn to learn that, okay, this is bad. How do I improve it next time so they don't tell me this is shit? And relating that to when I got to college, like some of the things I didn't like was that, for example, there was one very clear example that I really, really dislike, and it's that there was a math exam that a teacher told us you have to do this, and follow the exact steps we teach you. And in the exam, there was like you had to calculate something. I got the right result without the exact same steps that the teacher told us to use. And they didn't give me the point. And I was so mad about that because I got the result. Like, we have it right. But because you want me to follow this, everything like a checklist, you failed me for the exam, and I got really mad. And one of the reasons why, there are many reasons, but I feel like all the small things that I disliked about college accumulated. And once COVID started, because I was in the middle of my first and second year of college, when COVID started, all the classes were online. It was very, very hard to follow anything in class, because when you are, like, for example, here we are physically, it's much easier to communicate. But
you think we are physically? Maybe Donald Hoffman in this podcast Is right.
Yeah, so there's much easier. It's much easier to communicate when you are physically with somebody. But for example, when COVID started and we transitioned to online classes, half of the teachers had very bad webcam, very bad microphones. It was painful to sit through a 2-hour lecture about law or something.
About something that you can find a lot more interesting things up on YouTube.
Yeah, and also I had two monitors, so it was always on my second monitor the lesson. I was never paying attention. So after a couple of months, I was like, okay, this is kind of shit. So
you paid for it? You paid money to?
No, I got a scholarship.
Okay.
And I took the scholarship money to buy my first camera to start YouTube. And like after 2 years in college, when the COVID thing started and all the online lessons were there.
How your parents reacted? Because you have a typical Chinese parents.
Yeah, my mom still hates it. Every day my mom is like, how much money do you make? How much money do you make? Do you make $10,000 a month? Fidias make $1 million a month. And
does she think that we make $1 million?
No. She doesn't know. She has no clue. But she's always reminding me like, how much money do you make? Because in China, most Chinese people always only focus on money. And I don't agree with that.
Interesting.
So yeah, my dad wanted me to finish college because he finished college and he's like, okay, I want my son to at least have the same level of education as me. But obviously his what he learned and his situation in his age was different from ours, because now we have internet. When he was studying, there was no internet. And so it's different. They have that mindset of you have to go to college and all that. And yeah, I also thought about that because like everyone is doing it. So I guess. But once I got there, I was like, okay, I hate this. And I had the perfect excuse. I had one viral video and I used that one viral video as an excuse to tell my dad, this video got 300,000 views. I can do that again. And it can make money. The best excuse for an Asian parent. It can make money and you can convince them for anything. So my dad, I am really grateful that my dad was open for me to try it, because sometimes, for example, my cousin's dad is very strict and it will never work with him. But my dad, I appreciate that he let me try it. So he was like, okay, I will let you try it for at least, I don't know, a couple of years. And if you can't do anything with YouTube, you can always find out whatever job. Like, I'm capable enough to find a job and make enough to survive. I'm not going to starve to death. Like, I feel like I'm competent enough for that. So he gave me the opportunity to be able to work on YouTube. And I really appreciate that. So, but it took time, because the first time I talked to them, they were like, no. But slowly, I purposefully got a lot of...
How much time it took you to convince them?
Probably 6 months around, because I had a plan for that. I knew that they were not going to like it. So I got a bunch of brand collaborations and free stuff, and I filled the living room with a lot of boxes. So they were always reminded about the fact that I get a lot of free stuff. Brands are working with me, so it's always in their mind, and they see that something's happening. Because at the beginning, when I told them, they thought he's just doing this online funny video thing and it's nothing, it's not real. But when they see the living room full of boxes that they don't want, full of the tech, because I run a tech channel, full of tech and things, and it's physical, you can touch it, they can see, and they know that I don't have money to buy all the stuff that I was getting sent. So it was like I kind of planned it for them to physically visualize and use it as a way to convince them, because otherwise they will just think, he's just making funny videos online, whatever.
So can we talk about your biggest love in life?
YouTube or what?
Yes, you go on it.
YouTube.
He is in love with YouTube. He's probably one of the most obsessed people with YouTube that I ever met.
Yeah, well, I mean,
why? Explain this.
Well, everything is a bit connected. For example, when I was a kid, I didn't have that many friends. I didn't go out that much. So at home, when I was small, before internet, I had a DS. And once I started using a computer and all that, I found out about YouTube, and I just started and got hooked to YouTube. I realized that you can learn about a lot in YouTube. There are many interesting things, and it slowly over the years became a daily thing I do. I watch a ton of YouTube. So when I was 18 and I had no idea what to do in life, as a lot of you might have been through that, like you don't know what to do in life. I was like, okay, let's try a bunch of different things. And I was like, okay, I watch a lot of YouTube and it looks like people can make a living out of it. So let's try this. And I was a bit lucky that some things just happened at the right time. So I just started and I never gave up. So it was like a natural thing. It's something I really enjoy. I'm always watching YouTube. So working on this industry is like perfect for me. Yeah.
So you are behind the cameras and you see all this stuff. You pay attention. It's your job to do all this. Is it some stuff that you wanted to say, but you never got the chance to say in this channel for the viewers to see, or in this?
You're asking me.
What?
You're asking
Yeah.
me? Oh. If I had the opportunity to say something behind the camera.
Yeah. Do you think sometimes that, Fidia, you might said this or this theme, or I'm editing these 5 podcasts and I want to really say this to the viewers?
Oh yeah, I wanted to say some. I talked with Shengran about the word truth, because sometimes in some podcasts we have used the word truth when we are explaining history. For example, in the Ukrainian one, we were saying, "Oh, this is the story to bring us to the truth." I think there is not one truth, but there are multiple ones. There are infinite truths.
Elaborate.
Okay, so for example, when you are talking about history, the history is written by someone or some people, normally the people that win. So
how many things they learn with the podcast?
yeah. No, but this is something that I think the podcast did bad, because we were talking about one truth.
How many things we did wrong with the pod?
No, but this was the one that I was like, I don't want this to be on. So the thing is, like, you have multiple truths. It depends on the people and how they live the reality, that you are going to see the truth differently. So that's why I think there is not one truth, and we cannot say this is the truth, but this is one of the multiple truths.
Yeah, I definitely agree, and I believe there is not actually truth.
Okay.
Because we don't know anything about, we know very little. But sometimes my teacher, shout out to him, he's one big brain of the podcast, and he's the guy that inspired this podcast. So
I love you.
Watch one of the next podcasts, it will be with him, so watch that. And we did 2 podcasts with him. By the way, we're going to put the one that he's talking about Ukraine here, and the other one here that we did about high school teaching. But I believe that he said that sometimes you need to say something to just communicate what you mean. So yes. I might say it's the truth, but if I define every term all the time and have it correctly, we're not going to talk and pass points.
That's so.
But I agree 100% with you. And maybe in that situation, the context was, you are right on that context. So what about you, Shengran? You have anything?
What was the question? Because I've been thinking about what he was saying, so I forgot.
Fuck you.
I get too focused listening to what he was saying. So what we want to say that we couldn't say.
Sometimes you watch all this stuff, but you never had a voice to say something in the camera. Did you watch some stuff and say, no, I needed to say this? For example, Jesus said that was a mistake that we said on that podcast.
Yeah, well, I agree with that, because there's no universal truth. It all depends on. Everything is a bit of a depends. There's no just one right thing. And let's see, something that I would like to say. I don't really have anything in mind. Like I agree with most of the stuff that is being said. So, yeah, I mean, just be open-minded and listen to different perspectives, because if you only listen to what you want to hear, you're gonna get a very biased view of things. So that's
And let's get to the interesting stuff before I die. So, one time, Ellen, the guy that we're working for 3.5 years together, no, don't come. We're going to have a special podcast with him in the future. He came to me and he was very, 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 very valuable to me at the time. He said that I want to try a different job. And I was like, it sucked for a bit. It got my emotions. And he was, I think, the only person I was working with him at the time. Maybe another one guy for the thumbnails. But it really affected me for like a day. But then I thought about, no, this is, if I care about him as a person, I need to let him fly, do his own thing, make his own mistakes. Even if I believe, by the way, that at that time we had like 10,000 subscribers. So I don't blame him. And I told him, we had this conversation. I told him, I want your best to go and try this job that you want. And don't close both of the doors. I don't think it's clever. So try for 1 month this job, try this. And this is what I was thinking. I think that's logical. It's not like I'm biased to myself or something. And he went and tried it. And after some time, he thought that he didn't think it was as it promised by the other employees and all this stuff. Then he came back in the YouTube channel. And now he's one of the most valuable person in the company. Maybe even than me. Maybe not that, because it's my face on the YouTube. That's kind of a lie, but this is very, 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 very extremely valuable. So this is a question, just to phrase the question, it's like, don't feel bad to answer this honestly, because I honestly now, after I matured, that was when I was 19. Now I'm 20, I'm becoming 23, and I mature, and I really don't care what you're going to do. I want you to stay, but like I care more about you and your personal development and your. So, for example, we had some conversations with Shengran that he wants to maybe even pursue his YouTube channel in the future, and how do you see your future with this team and with this team, and like how, and just say it can be, for example, with me, I was clear with Arak that, brother, I love you. I'm going to work as hard as I can. Whatever time you text me, 5 a.m., call me, 3 a.m., I will come to film your video. But I always, and my intentions in the future is to have my channel as a priority. So I gave 100% of my focus and energy for 1 year for his channel. And then I slowly pivoted and I did my channel. So it was always clear from the beginning. And so what's the answer for you guys? I don't know who is going to take the lead, but this is some interesting, tough conversations.
Well, for me, I'm really liking more and more this job. So it's something like I've been thinking about, because obviously I at the beginning I wasn't sure, like I didn't know if this will be a thing I would like to do long term. Like the first time we talked, I was like, okay, let's try this for, I don't know, if I'm gonna commit to it, I'm gonna at least try it for a year and let's see what happens after we try it and have some experience, so we can learn from it instead of just guessing how I would feel. And I like this job more and more, and I'm optimizing stuff. It's better for me. At the beginning, like the first couple of weeks we were working, it was a bit uncomfortable for me, and I never said this, but because I usually, when I'm making my own YouTube videos, I'm not under pressure. I'm like, okay, if I do this like for next week, it's fine. But when I was working with Fidias, it was a bit different, because I was like, okay, I need to do this. And I remember in my mind thinking, I want him to fire me because it was uncomfortable for me to be under pressure. But I was like, I can't be such a fucking pussy and drop and leave this in just 2 weeks. I need to make it. And once I survive, I will think about it. And I don't regret that because I really like this. And maybe we could I think it will be good for me to keep working on this and work on my main channel and make one video a month or something like that, because I don't know. I think I find both things very valuable, and I think right now I can keep doing this for years to come. So that's my view right now.
Okay.
Thanks.
Thanks for sharing. I really like this job. Not only because I'm learning a lot with the podcast, and
Not only because I paid for your food before, right?
yeah, no, that's not because no, but
And we want to bring more people in the future. Also, we paid for their flights to come to Cyprus to meet them in real life. We are showing them around. They have a great time. Is it true? You have a great time
Yes.
here in Cyprus. So it's like we take this more like a family, and I think you can feel it's not like a job. It's not like so yeah. Just wanted to promote what we're doing for future employees there. So, and you are not employees for future bosses.
Yes. Yeah. So that part I love it. Like, we are a family, we love each other, and I'm really learning a lot with the podcast. Like, the only bad things that I see is like editing is like a very lonely job, and you are in front of a screen a lot of time during the day, and that's something that I don't know if I will stand for 10 years. I don't know. And what I'm missing in this job is like having more things to do manually. I really love filming with cameras, obviously, cinematography, and that's something that I'm missing. But I don't know, maybe in the future, if we move together and I have different things to do, maybe that changes. But yeah, that's the only thing that it's keeping me out of doing this forever. The fact that I'm sitting in front of a screen forever.
Interesting.
Yeah, I agree with that. Like, I've noticed that working by yourself at home, even if we are communicating, it's a bit hard, and I feel like it's much.
So you prefer the real life?
Yeah, real life. It's much easier, because sometimes I send Fidias a message and he reads this and never replies. I'm like, bro, what the fuck? Reply to my message or something like that. With Jesus, we communicate very fast, but Fidias sometimes, because he's filming, he's doing stuff, he's not eating for 12 days. So communication is a bit harder. So I think the message comes across much better if we are physically together. So, like, for example, when I'm working at home by myself, it's different. Here we have been talking these last couple of days, and it's much easier to understand everything we are talking about, and it's much more fun, and I think it's much more productive. So I don't know, maybe it could be something we could try. Like, yeah.
Yeah, one good thing about this is that we have freedom of location. Like, I have been traveling to different cities in Spain, and it was not a problem. The job was not a problem. Like, I could work harder, and then I don't work for 3 days, and yeah, so it's also good that we are not location based. But yeah, it gets lonely sometimes.
Yeah, also, it's interesting what you said, because, for example, it seems that we are growing very fast in the main channel. I don't see any reason why we're going to stop growing. So different positions, different stuff. And if we know you, we know what you are bringing to the table, we can change positions in the team. We can hire different people for that position that they see themselves editing for 10 years or whatever. And you take, for example, filming, or like there is so many stuff that we can do. And I told you already, like, even for example, with the podcast, I'm open to kind of give percentage potentially to the thing. But now the podcast is making $50.
We are losing money because of all the travel expenses. Like, we make $36 this month, and we spend $6,000 on the flight. So share and watch this.
Not a great business for now.
Yeah. How much time do you think it's going to take us to break even in the month?
Grow the podcast. In 1 year, I think we're going to be able to, as much we spend, we're going to be making, or maybe a bit more.
Okay.
It takes time. It took me 3 years it took me kind of 3 years, 2 years to break in the other one. Now we're doing the podcast for like, I think 8 months.
Yes.
So I think it's going to take definitely more than a year. Hopefully we're lucky. Hopefully things happen sooner. And I see some evidence that it might happen. But I think in a year probably from now, we're going to be able to have around 50,000 views average a month video. So we can have like $10,000 AdSense and maybe from sponsors and stuff to make revenue. So I see it from a year from now as well. And also, if we're talking about podcasting, I never shared it with the audience, and I think it's a great way for me to say it. I have really big plans for the future. It's not like when I start something, and I really believe it, it's like, and you see us like, so like what you want me to do. Like I'm losing $6,000 just a month, just sometimes less. This month we lost $6,000, and you see I have skin in the game. I believe this is not like I'm just saying yeah I want to focus long term on the podcast. I show it with my actions, and we show it with our actions that we really care and believe in this thing. And it will be funny for us to look back in the future in this clip and say that now we're spending a lot of money on the podcast. And we're getting 400 views every podcast, and it's not great, but we're grateful that we learned all this stuff. And the thing that we learn, all this stuff, it's worth it by itself. So we're not doing it for the views and the money. We're doing it intrinsic, but views and money will help to get bigger guests, make this more fun, make this more interesting. But we're not doing this for the views and money. I'm doing this, me personally, I don't know exactly what their motives is, because intrinsically this is what makes my heart sing, to learn and have a conversation with clever people. But another thing that I wanted to say about the future of the podcast is I believe the greatest inequality in the world is like between the countries. And like, for example, the people in Burundi, the worst poorest country, or let's say different countries, they cannot see a podcast of Elon Musk. And Elon Musk, ladies and gentlemen, was my university. I watched every one of his podcasts and I studied everything that he said. And this is how I know what I know, basically, with a lot of other things, but Elon Musk was a core thing. But people, let's say that they speak African or like Swahili or what?
Is that a language? African.
African, I think.
Oh, okay.
African.
Well, just any like not that commonly used
not
language.
English, because only English is Elon Musk.
It's very hard for people that don't know English.
Yeah.
Like I'm very grateful for my dad to let me go to a bilingual school in Spain, because otherwise I will not be able to speak English. And all the information you get, it's huge. You get access to so much more information.
Get access to the greatest minds in the world, and this is very, very valuable. And this is what I think the contribution of this podcast will be in 4 or 5 years, is to translate and dub the videos, dub in, like, for example, people translating this stuff and have another voice actor saying what I'm saying in, let's say, Spanish, for example. So, and that's, I think, slowly we can do it to 10, 40 different languages. And I think that will be that is kind of the future that I see for the podcast. And I think this will be a great contribution for me to the world, to give the knowledge of all these greatest minds ever lived to all these different languages.
Yeah, I totally agree, and I can see that is definitely gonna work, the translating part, because sometimes I watch a really good YouTube video that teaches me something very important, and I want to show it to my dad, because I know my dad likes learning also, but he only understands Chinese and Spanish more or less well. But I watched most of the stuff in English, and most of the best information is available only in English. So when I want to show him, it's like I cannot show him, and it makes me mad that he doesn't understand it. So I hope that the YouTube audio dubbing thing becomes mainstream and everybody does it, because that will make it so much easier for everyone to understand and get access to whatever they want.
And my dad cannot watch this podcast that we do because he only speaks Greek. So it's a real life problem, actually. Yeah. So, ladies and gentlemen, I leave you guys to close the podcast and say whatever you want. But actually, this was brilliant.
Okay, so I love you. I love you. This is being a very good part in my life, and maybe it's also thanks to you. Yeah, and I love you even though I don't know you, but thank you that you're watching. Yeah, Shengran, take it on.
I'm not good with cheesy words, and I'm very straight to the point, so I don't know.
So we ended at Jesus words.
Yeah, so I don't know, like I never imagined I'll be in a position like this, because I'm sure a lot of people watching maybe dream of meeting or working with their favorite YouTubers or something like that. And I feel like if you work on it smart enough and hard enough, smart and hard at the same time, I feel like on YouTube, you definitely can make it. But sometimes, obviously, luck is an important factor. There are some things, for example, when I applied for Fidias, the job application, I just happened to see it. I remember that I saw the tweet and I clicked it, and that was a coincidence. Maybe if I didn't open Twitter that day, I would not be here. But I don't know. Yeah. So just if you want to achieve something, keep working hard. Don't give up. This guy spent 70 days outside Twitter and he met Elon Musk. So I mean, luck is not everything. It helps, but the more time you spend doing something,
definitely lucky. Those kids
well,
in Qatar, that was
yes,
a luck
but
thing.
the more time you spend at it, the more chances or more lucky breaks there might be. If you only spend 3 days, 10 days, you only have that percentage. If you make it 7 times longer, there are 7 times more chances for something good to happen. So if you want to make something successful, just keep going at it, keep trying, and be smart about it, and it will be much more likely. Most people just give up very quickly, and I noticed that when I was 19, when I started my own YouTube channel, I was like, okay, no matter what, I'm not gonna give up for at least 2 or 3 years, because most people give up in 2 or 3 days, and I almost gave up on my first couple of days, but I somehow, I don't know, it was not planned, kind of a coincidence, but that I just kept going. And if you keep going, I think your chances of making or achieving whatever you want is much more likely. So I think that's what I have to say.
Much more likely, but not certain.
Not certain, obviously. Sometimes, well, maybe now I go out and I get in a car accident. Things like that happen, and it's sad that sometimes happens. But if you try your best, like, at least you will be like, okay, at least I tried my best instead of wasting my time doing whatever. Something.
I prefer what Jesus said. We love you guys. We really appreciate you, and I love you guys. And thank you for all your work that you did. This without you, this wouldn't be possible. I was not going to be able to sustain the podcast and make this podcast as joyful as it is. I love you. Bye bye, guys. Thank you for watching.
Bye in the food.